Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm Bhavesh from Youverse LLC. Welcome to the first video in this free course for Power Automate. Let's begin. This is Power Automate. Power Automate, just a brief history here, is a very powerful automation tool. If you have any repetitive task or any workflow, we can probably automate that using Power Automate. Power Automate is from Microsoft 365. It works very well with all other Microsoft 365 apps like SharePoint, Power Apps, Outlook, OneDrive, and so forth. This is the home screen for Power Automate web version. On the left-hand side, we have the navigation panel. The selected option is Home. If you click on it, this is the home screen. Up top, you will see Copilot. In the middle is the learning area. These are some lessons with some exercises. Feel free to click on them and learn and practice. They're pretty helpful. On the left side, back to the navigation panel, underneath Home, we have Create. If you click on it, as the name suggests, this is where we will be creating these flows. When I use the word flow, I mean an automation. So every automation we create is called a flow in Power Automate. If you click on Templates, this is where you can access a lot of templates. Feel free to click on these. These are good starting points. You can also click on these and see how they are developed or make some changes and modify them to work for your needs. If you click on Learn, it's going to open Microsoft's Learning Center. This is where you can access a lot of their tutorials and documentation. If you click on My Flows, this is where you can access all the flows you have created so far under this account. Everything else underneath, we will talk about this stuff later on in the course. Let's head back to Home. I think the perfect way to explain how Power Automate works in this video will be with an example. Up here, I have my Gmail account open and my Outlook 365 open here. For this example, I'm going to send an email from my Gmail account to my M365 Outlook account. And I want my flow to detect that email. And if the subject is the word test, then I want my flow to send a response back to the sender saying we received your email. Pretty simple. So if the email comes from this Gmail account right here, and if the subject is test, like so, I've written this email here, then we should receive a response here from my M365 account. Okay, so let's go ahead and create this flow. Go to Create, start from blank. You're going to see a lot of different options here. We're going to create an automated cloud flow. Automated cloud flow is a flow that triggers automatically. So it's dependent on the trigger. Instant cloud flow is a flow that you create and is triggered manually. Scheduled cloud flow is scheduled. If you want your flow to run every 2 days at a certain time, just an example, this is what you'll do. And everything else we'll talk later in the course. So for this example, since I want my flow to automatically detect an incoming email from my Gmail account with a particular keyword in the subject, we'll be creating automated cloud flow. Click here. You can give your flow a name. Let's call it email test trigger. So you can select the trigger here, or you can click skip and you can select the trigger later on. I prefer selecting trigger later on, so click skip. If you click skip, Power Automate will not remember the name you gave it, so it's untitled. This is the new version of Power Automate, and this is Copilot on the right side. I'm gonna close it for now. Let's give this flow a name. Again, email test. This is your workspace area. You see here it says add a trigger. Click on it. You're gonna see a lot of options on the left side in this pop-up window, and search for email. Since I'm expecting an email in my Office 365 Outlook, this is the section we will look at. Power Automate works very well with third-party apps also, like Gmail. We will discuss this later on in this course. For this example, we're going to select this trigger here, when a new email arrives. V3. V3 means it's version 3. Microsoft creates these triggers and they keep making improvements in it, and they call it a new version. Click here. This will add the trigger. On the left-hand side, these are the settings for this trigger. At the bottom, you can see it's connected to your account. Whichever account it's connected to, this is where this flow will look for incoming emails. So it's connected to admin@youversellc.com. If you want to change this, you can click on Change Connection, and then you can add a new connection here. Let's go back. These are the settings here. I want more options to show up here. So you can click on this drop down and then you can select which other options you want to access. I'm mainly looking for from option because I want to see who's the email from. So let's select this and then select subject filter. This will add this underneath. In from, I'm going to go ahead and enter my Gmail account. So if you receive an email from this email address, then this flow will trigger. But I want to add more conditions to it. In subject filter, I'm going to write word test. So if we have this word test in the subject, and these two conditions, if true, together will trigger our flow. And if we go back to my M365 Outlook, I have created a folder here called tutorials. Any incoming emails from my Gmail account will go to this folder. I've created a rule. So I will need to select this folder in the flow trigger settings. By default, inbox is selected. You can click here, let it load, and then navigate to the folder where you're expecting that email. By default, it's inbox, but for the sake of this tutorial, it's this folder right here. So I'm going to select it. Everything's good. Attachments. If you want to trigger your flow, only if the incoming email has an attachment, then you can select yes here. But for this example, it does not matter. This looks good. So this flow will trigger based on the conditions we just set. And now let's decide upon action. So when this flow triggers, what happens next? What do we want our flow to do? Click on the plus sign, click add an action, and it will open this window again. Now I want to send a response back to the sender of that email. So let's search email. I will go with this here under Office 365 Outlook, send an email version 2. And these are the settings. So since I want to send this email back to the sender of the email that triggered this flow, we will switch to advanced mode. When you switch to advanced mode and you click here, it shows you this blue area here with two buttons. Click on the lightning and it will open up this little pop-up here. So here, as you can see, it shows you when a new email arrives, version 3. This is all the information that we have access to from this trigger. So if the email comes in and we select this right here, then we have access to who sent that email. That's what we're looking for. So click here. So whoever sent this email that triggered the flow, their email address will be populated in the to section. In subject, we can write automated response. And in body, you can write, we received your email. We can add more data in the body and in subject. We will talk about it in the future. For now, a simple response. This is good. So when the flow is triggered, then our flow will send an email back to the sender of the email. That email response will have the subject line as automated response, and this will be the body. Connection is good. Click this arrow. And that's it. This is our flow. So once you're done with your flow, you need to click on save. It takes a few seconds. If there's any error in your flow, it will show you right here. If everything looks good so far, you will see this green bar here. Your flow is ready to go. Now click back. This is the information about the flow we just created. If you want to get here, you have to go to My Flows and you will see all the flows you have created. This is a flow we just created. Click on it and these are the settings of the flow. At the bottom here, you will see 28-day run history. Every time your flow run, you will see a log here. If your flow succeeded, if it failed, if it was a test run, when did your flow run last time, all that information, all the runs will be logged here. This is some pretty basic information about the flow. On the right side, it shows you what kind of connection it's using. And I'm the only owner. So there are two ways to run this flow. Either the action that is supposed to trigger this flow, it happens. That means we receive an email from my Gmail account and it has that keyword in the subject. Or if you want to test it, then you can click edit and then you can click test here. But let's go back. If you see this button here that says turn off, this means your flow is on right now. That means it's constantly looking for an incoming email based on our condition. Let's get to the fun part. Go to my Gmail account. This is the email I've written. This is my email address. Subject, test. This is a test email for the YouTube channel. Let's click send. Sending, sent. Let's go to my M365 Outlook account. That email should pop up here any moment. And the moment it does, we will switch to Power Automate to see Power Automate in action. There we go. Now we're back to Power Automate. We should see a run here. Power Automate is going to detect that incoming email with the keyword test in the subject, and it will execute an action. And every time Power Automate flow runs, like I said, you'll see a log of the run here. And you can see today's August 30th at 6:52 p.m., 33 seconds ago. They say how long it took, and it succeeded. If you want to be able to access more information about this particular run, then you can click on it, and it will open the flow. If ever you see a red cross sign against any one of these, that means there was an error, and we'll need to look into it. Let's go back, and now let's go to our M365. This is our email. It's still here. Now go back to Gmail. Okay, let's see if we received an email. It hasn't shown up. I see one email in spam. I hope that's not it. Let's click here. Okay. Yes, it showed up in spam. Let's click here. And I'm going to click Report Not Spam. Go to Inbox. And this is the email we received. Came from my account. Automated email. Subject as we described. This is the body. This email was sent automatically based on this email we received in our inbox. So this is just one basic example how you can automate things. Any repetitive task you're doing, we can automate it. I'm very excited about this course. We will create more fun automations in the future videos. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for your time.